I've lost everything. I've no house, I've no nothing.
What happens when debt
We're going to come in one way or the other.
tracks you down?
He's crawling through the hallway on his hands and knees.
Up and down the UK,
Can you come to the door, please?
we see Britain's most resilient High Court enforcement agents.
Officers, he's obstructing. I'm not obstructing you!
Dealing with every debtor's worst nightmare.
Hello, High Court enforcement!
Because if you can't pay,
Can you make this payment?
No.
they'll take it away. Since 2007, UK landlords have been obliged to register their tenants' deposits with a government-backed tenancy deposit scheme. This means that landlords can't keep the money in their personal accounts. However, the number of disputes about returning deposits to tenants is on the rise, with nearly 30,000 cases reported in the last year alone. High Court enforcement agents Gary Ball and Matt Highway are in Stoke-on-Trent, Staffordshire.
What you got next for us, mate?
Off to see Mohammed Safa, who owes £2,874.41.
The debt of nearly £3,000 is owed by landlord Mohammed Safia to two of his former tenants.
He'll be stood at the doorstep saying something along the lines of, "I'm really sorry, Matt, Gary, here's the money. Would you like a cup of tea?"
Has that ever happened?
The tenants claimed Mr. Safia didn't return their deposits at the end of their leases. They took Mr. Safia to court and won the case. Now he must pay in full today.
Hello there, how are you? I'm looking for Mohammed Safa.
He's out of the country.
Where is he at the moment?
Egypt.
He's in Egypt?
Yeah.
Okay. Just explain why, madam. My name's Matthew Howard, I'm a High Court enforcement agent. I'm here with a High Court writ. So can you get him on the telephone for me?
I really can't because my phone's not working.
Do you want to give me a number and I'll give him a call then?
Yeah. Can I ask what's this regarding?
I'd need Mohammed's permission to discuss that with you, because obviously you're not named on the writ.
Matt calls Mr. Safia.
Hello?
Mr. Safa?
Yes, it is.
Hello, sir. My name's Matthew Highway. I'm a High Court enforcement agent. I'm at your property at the moment. There's an outstanding balance of £2,874.41.
To be honest with you, I'm on the way to the airport.
Right.
Can I give you my brother's number?
You'd like him to deal with it on your behalf, would you?
Yeah, my brother will sort it out, yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Did you catch that, madam?
I've just texted him. He says he's coming now.
Okay, lovely. Do you know how long he'll be?
Minutes later, Mr. Safia's brother, Mr. Shabir, turns up.
Hello, sir. How are you? You Mohammed's brother? Great stuff, okay.
You got the wrong house. Mohammed Safi doesn't live here.
Unfortunately, we've sent a notice of enforcement here. Okay, I mean, the situation is the writ commands us to attend the property today to either collect payments or to look at seizing goods. If there are items in the property that don't belong to Mohammed, then unfortunately, the onus is on those people to prove that to us. Otherwise, we'll be looking at seizing assets today.
Well, you need to prove to me that Mohammed Safi lives here.
No, I don't need to prove that, sir.
You do.
No,
listen, lads. Be honest with you.
You need to
listen to me. You can't do shit here. Let's face it. Nothing with Mohammed Safi here.
Right.
You see, what happens is Mohammed Safi doesn't live in the country.
Right.
Yeah, he lives in Egypt.
Despite Mr. Shabir's claims that his brother lives abroad, the agents have a High Court writ to enforce and the right to stay and investigate further.
You can wait outside.
No, we won't be leaving, sir.
What do you mean you won't be leaving? Let's drop the aggro and the big man shit.
There's no aggro.
No, that is. Don't try and intimidate me.
I'm talking to you in a very gentle, calm fashion. Do you want to give him a call? I'll make a payment over the phone. He's not in Egypt. I've just spoke to him.
We just spoke to him. Yeah. Well, what did he say?
He's on the way to the airport and that you'll sort it out for him.
No. I'm going to pay somebody else. He's dead.
Right.
No.
I just want to give him a call and tell him that's not the case.
No, mate. It's got nothing to do
we
with me.
can sort this out, can't we?
It's got nothing to do with me.
We'll carry on then, sir.
All right. You know, our backgrounds mean that we can suss out whether we're being lied to or not. There's little bits of body language that occurs, things that give it away for the debtor, and we can pick up on that pretty quickly.
With Mr. Shabir refusing to cooperate, the agents look for proof that his brother does live at the property. And upstairs, they make an important discovery.
This is the stuff that he didn't want you to read through.
There's a stash of letters addressed to the debtor, Mohammed Safir, in one of the bedrooms.
I think we might have found Mohammed's room.
This is Mohammed's room then, yeah?
But their actions haven't gone unnoticed.
Oh, roll around in the property. We can't see it. Do you mean, man? You can't. Let's not get our gross, sir. So I'll get the police.
Get the police here, get the police here.
Right, I'll go get him. Go get him. Take us upstairs.
With tensions rising, Gary phones for police assistance.
Hello there, my name's Gary Ball. I'm a High Court enforcement agent. I'm at a property at the minute executing a High Court writ. However, one of the gentlemen here is obstructing us and becoming very aggressive. I wonder if I could have police assistance, please.
But then, two other men arrive at the property.
These idiots, man, can walk by.
Wow, what's up, honey?
They're after Mohammed Safir. Saf.
Yeah,
He doesn't even live here.
Yeah.
I'm saying we're going to take shit.
How can he take it if he doesn't live here?
Are you related to the defendant?
yeah.
Okay. People at this address would have to prove those items belong to them. It's not for me to prove otherwise.
The agents stand their ground, but Mr. Shabir won't back down.
Yeah, you don't own the fucking house. You walk in and start reading the mail, man.
We're allowed to, sir.
No, you're not. Don't chat shit with me, man.
Alright, we'll see when with the police.
See what I mean? You piss me off when you talk, man. You're like a little fucking budgie that doesn't stop, man.
Can we not just get this resolved?
Swear down. I'll take your clothes off and chuck it out on the street.
You take my clothes off?
I'll take your clothes off and chuck it on the street.
Why would you do that?
No, just to embarrass you.
I don't think that you would ever be able to embarrass me, chap. Ever. People, I think, say the first thing that come into their head. They don't think about what they're saying. And actually, if it was rerun back to them afterwards, they'd think, well, that was just ridiculous. And they sort of do make you chuckle inside at the time. But, you know, something like that's just crazy, just ridiculous.
With the situation becoming more unpredictable, Matt and Gary decide to wait for the police to arrive before continuing the enforcement. But then, two more men appear and immediately try to intimidate Matt.
I wrote to the knife in the cell, mate, and fucking take it. Fuck. Straight up to you. You know the police.
I'm not worried, buddy. You don't worry me in the slightest, my man.
We them kind of people, mate, do not give a fuck.
Yeah,
even though you can't remember your face, mate, right now.
You don't worry me in the slightest, bud.
The money, it doesn't mean fuck all, mate.
Right.
We pay you, we don't pay you, it's our choice.
And
then you'll be out of here before you know it.
Gary and Matt are now in a threatening situation. They must act quickly to get this case resolved unharmed. In Stoke-on-Trent, Staffordshire, Gary Ball and Matt Highway were trying to collect a debt of nearly £2,900.
I'm looking for a Mohammed Safir.
The debtor, Mohammed Safir, wasn't at home.
To be honest with you, I'm on the way to the airport.
The agents found letters showing the debtor had been at this address.
This is the stuff that he didn't want you to read through.
Family and friends arrived and intimidated the agents.
Right. We pay you, we don't pay you, it's our choice.
And
then you'll be out of here before you know it.
Gary called the police.
I wonder if I could have police assistance, please.
And half an hour later, they're now on the scene.
Hello, officer, you alright?
All we're here is just to make sure everything's calm. That's the only reason we're here. We're not taking anybody's side. We're not taking anybody's side.
With the police on hand to prevent a breach of the peace, Matt continues to try and enforce the writ. There are several cars on the drive. Potential assets he can seize to offset the debt.
You got proof of ownership for me, bud, for the vehicles?
Akil, just go get the logbooks first.
They're not proof of ownership, they're logbooks.
You can take any vehicle from me. I ain't taking my fucking car.
With no proof being offered that the cars don't belong to the debtor, Matt checks to see if they're free of finance and able to be seized.
The Greece Theatre Ibiza.
That's the one?
Finance free. Give you an approximate valuation, mate. Just 1 second. About 400 quid. Black Volkswagen Polo.
Yeah, that's the one.
Again, it's clear of finance. Approximately 1,500.
All right, lovely. See you later, buddy.
Both cars are only worth £1,900. Not enough to cover the £2,900 debt.
Right, mate. Inventory inside, yeah?
So Matt and Gary go back into the house to look for any other valuable assets they could seize.
A Samsung TV, probably 50-inch.
But then, more men start to arrive, and Mr. Shabir tries again to get the agents to leave.
Mate, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, honestly.
Well,
no. Give me a get out, mate.
That'll be no, sir.
Yeah, they've got a call.
I know, but look what they're saying now. They're being ridiculous.
You're going to have to tell them to go. Honestly,
No,
it's going to be a big problem.
If you refuse to leave, we will escort you off the property.
You can try, sir. You can try. Okay. I've had enough of this now.
You can't take one of the cars. You know that, don't you?
Well, I'm telling you, I'm going to organise recovery.
You take the cars.
Okay.
Or officers, listen, I don't think we need you anymore.
Give me 5 minutes, yeah, and I'll get you 20 boys down here.
Don't make it back.
No, the thing is, yeah, listen, you should do your job, yeah, and get him off the property. You know what I'm saying? He shouldn't be in there.
People believe that by organising a large group, they're going to somehow put us off the enforcement process. They're going to frighten us and we'll go away. And, you know, the fact of the matter is it doesn't. No, we're going to carry on and do our job, regardless of how many people are there.
There are now over 10 men outside the house.
Now, listen to me now. You're causing problems in, so I'm asking you all to leave because
We aren't leaving. Okay. We aren't leaving.
With the situation threatening to get out of hand, a sergeant and 3 more police officers attend the scene.
Hiya, mate, you alright? It's okay, we're just a bit concerned about the way things were going on, to be honest with you, and the way people were reacting, numbers that were turning up.
Yeah. We'll be gone in 5 minutes.
All this can be stopped now, can't it?
Yeah.
But then suddenly, with the extra police presence, the family asked to speak to the agents inside the house.
Yeah.
And Gary and Matt are in for a surprise.
Can you take cash?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can take cash, yeah.
One of the men decides to pay the agents the £2,900
1,000 there, yeah?
in cash.
Thanks, ladies. All right, take care.
Smashing. Right, we're all done. Thank you for your help. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for your help.
After nearly 3 hours at the house, the agent's perseverance has paid off.
Collected the money on behalf of the client.
And we got payment in full.
There it is, ready to be banked. Fantastic, mate.
Right, I felt a bit scared for you, mate. You know, and he wanted to take you outside and get you naked.
Let's get out of here quickly.
Research has revealed that disputes between tenants and landlords over rent arrears has seen a 90% year-on-year increase. Nearly 50% of landlords attempting to remove a tenant from their property reported that the primary reason was rent arrears. New Malden, southwest London.
I've worked this area before.
Nice area again, look. Gated.
It's not bad at all.
Gated properties.
High Court enforcement agents Steve Pinner and Max Caraher are on their way to recover a debt of nearly £9,000.
We're off to see Mr. Shung Chul Choi and Mrs. Jong Wah Hong.
According to the claimant, the debtors sublet a previous property they were renting from him without his permission and without paying him rent.
We're looking to collect £8,838.08.
The claimant escalated the case to the High Court, and now Mr. Choi and Mrs. Hong must pay in full today.
Hello, hiya, here to see Mrs. Hong.
Yes.
And is that you? And Mr. Choi?
Yeah.
Hiya, I'm a High Court enforcement agent.
So here.
Hello, sir. Are you Mr. Choi? Hello, Mr. Choi. My name's Max Caraher. It's my colleague Steve Pinner. We're High Court enforcement agents. We're here to speak to you about a High Court writ we have for you.
Step in.
My solicitor sent to the letter
Yeah.
to court, so we make this date
Have you got a date?
Yeah.
If you show us.
Mr. Choi shows Steve a letter his solicitor has written to the court appealing the case. But this won't stop Max and Steve.
Just because the solicitor has written a letter to the court, it wouldn't mean that the writ is not live.
The problem is...
What do you want, Steve?
What do we want?
£8,838 and 8 pence. Can you make this payment?
No.
Can I just explain this to you? If we have to stay here longer, we then have to go round, make lists of everything that's here, and then the price gets more.
So how can I do?
You need to talk to someone. If they can help us and pay it now, and then you can argue it when you go back to court. Solicitors can slow things down because they're arguing a point on behalf of their client. Sometimes they say, oh, there's an application to stop it, but it is only an application. It's not a definite stop. So until such time there is a definite stop, we have to continue. The writ we hold commands us to do the job.
Despite having the situation clearly explained to him, Mr. Choi gets back on the phone to his solicitor.
I'm going to begin making an inventory.
With no offer of payment, Max starts looking for items they could seize to offset the debt.
Whoa. That's a big property. Huge property.
But upstairs, he's in for a surprise.
Hello. You don't have a...
Speaking English. Sorry.
What language do you speak, madam?
Greek.
Greek.
Please.
This is your room?
Yes.
Are you a tenant here, miss?
Yes.
Ah, right.
With the discovery of a tenant, Max is suspicious that the debtors are subletting this house just as they did at their previous address. But Max and Steve aren't here to flush out a scam. They're here to try and recover the nearly £9,000 Mr. Choi owes to his previous landlord. And he's still making no offer to pay.
Steve, we're not getting what we want.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take action. We're now going to begin to prepare goods for removal, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Max heads outside to clamp the car on the driveway.
I've seized the vehicle.
Yeah.
We'll run an HPR on it.
I'll put that on it.
Yes, please. It's a 56 plate Voyager. Right.
But the value of the car won't fully cover the debt. So Max continues to look around the house and finds IT equipment in a downstairs office.
We haven't got payment. We're being messed around.
No.
So we've been messed around. You're not going to pay this. So the only way...
Don't touch me.
Yes, it's all going. Yeah, it's all going. Yep.
No.
Right, take your hands off of me, okay?
Okay.
Take your hands off of me.
Okay.
This will be removed.
No.
You're messing me around. You're not going to pay it. Yes?
You cannot...
Your solicitor is wrong. I am going to remove this. Please don't put your hands on me again.
Mr. Choi is now physically obstructing Max.
Sir, right, sir, listen, listen, take your hands off of me. I won't ask again.
With tension rising, Max has to make Mr. Choi understand that the agents have every right to remove goods from the house.
Please let me carry on with my job. Otherwise, I assure you, you will be arrested for obstructing a High Court enforcement agent. When we're trying to make somebody see sense, I think it's almost like the bait's on the hook and the fish is there lurking, and when it's a particularly large sum of money, they're almost weighing up, is it worth the enforcement agents removing all our assets, or do we need to pay it and put a line in the sand?
But despite Steve and Max removing his possessions, Mr. Choi still refuses to pay. He phones his solicitor again.
According to the law, you should give at least 7 days notice.
Sir, with the greatest respect, our office sends the letters out and we're not allowed to go out until the letter date has been cleared. The letter will have been sent.
No, I won't. Hold on. So I've asked you this loads of times. All you're doing is phoning your solicitors to argue with us. I've asked very nicely, and you've made no effort to raise the funds.
Don't.
You need to pay now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. You got a card?
Hold it. Yeah.
I'm not going to wait because I've been here for ages.
Okay.
Right.
Don't touch me.
I have to.
Okay?
I'm not touching you.
Okay.
Mr. Choi still refuses to cooperate. But now the stress is taking its toll on Mrs. Hong. Steve intervenes.
I'm very sorry we've upset you, but we are here because there is a reason. We wouldn't be here for no reason. But it's a lot. That's why I have grey hair. When somebody gets emotional, you have to talk to them, you know, on a level that they will accept and understand. I'd like to think I'm a people person, but when somebody's emotional, it does have a knock-on effect on us because we can see the situation they're in and we still have to try and get through the job.
It's now 2 hours since the agents arrived. Mr. Choi is still not offering to pay. To keep the pressure on, Max continues to remove items from the house in the hope that he'll change his mind.
We're being messed around back and forth, conversations with solicitors who are giving possibly some of the worst advice I've ever come across in my career doing this. I really don't know why he's making it so difficult on himself.
Steve phones the office for a second recovery truck.
We need a vehicle to remove items of household items and a vehicle to remove a car.
One vehicle and a van, no problem.
Some debtors do believe that they can outsmart the system. So, you know, and then all of a sudden then you have to start to dig your heels in and say at the end of the day, this is what we're sent to do. Well, let's see who's going to win here, us or you.
Is that all sorted, Steve?
Yeah, they're organising a van now to come along and a truck to take the car.
With more removal vehicles on their way, Mr. Choi is in danger of losing most of his possessions to offset the debt. Finally, the pressure gets too much.
Okay, I agree.
Mr. Choi gives in. But because the agents had started to remove goods, £1,200 has been added to the debt. Mr. Choi now pays over £10,000 by bank transfer.
Yeah, I'll just call to check that, and we'll give you all your receipts, etc. Can you confirm for me that a total of £10,039.28 has been received?
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you very much. That writ's paid in full. I'll issue them a receipt.
It's been a good result for the agents.
This is your receipt, this is for you, and you have our card.
Yeah.
Okay? Good luck. Okay?
Good job.
If you need us, you know where we are.
I don't want to again. I don't want to meet again.
Take care. Bye-bye, Mr. Choi.
It's very satisfying when we turn a won't pay into a has paid. The reason for this is because they've put up such a battle, and at the end we get the result we're after.
Wow, it's the first time somebody said, good job.
Max and Steve have got payment in full in a difficult situation. But in Matt and Gary's next case, they find a man hiding from a £25,000 debt.
He's crawling through the hallway on his hands and knees.
Whose friends will do anything to stop the agents.
What do you mean, what? You mean, you twat?
Just trap my hand in that door.
Research shows that owners of small and medium-sized companies in the UK are increasingly concerned about their financial future. 7 in 10 have had to take out loans to prop up their businesses. which has taken its toll on their personal finances. High Court enforcement agents Matt Highway and Gary Ball are back on the road, this time in Smethwick, Birmingham.
Where's next then, mate?
Next, mate, we're going to see Mr. Alan James Sartori. Ooh, 25,000 quid.
Well, small one then.
Mr. Sartori, a former nightclub owner, fought a dispute with a business partner over property, but lost his case. He then refused to pay his solicitor's fees and now owes £25,000.
Ready?
Yep. You see through?
Yeah. No sign of anybody.
It seems Mr. Sartori isn't in. But Matt's in for a surprise.
Just when you think you've seen it all, he's crawling through the hallway on his hands and knees.
Is it up?
No, the man.
Joking.
He just crawled through the hallway on his hands and knees. So I couldn't see him. There's no queerer than folk, is there? Hello? Ah. He's not crawling anymore, he's actually stood upright this time. Hello, sir. Looking for Mr. Sartori? I need to speak to you, sir. My name's Mr. Highway. I'm a High Court enforcement agent. So I'm here with a High Court writ, sir. Would you like to get the matter dealt with, sir, or not?
No, I'm not having coming out there.
You wouldn't? OK. Many thanks.
With Mr. Sartori not cooperating, Matt turns detective.
People being so foolish. It just drives you mad, doesn't it? Hello there, really sorry to bother you.
Right.
Do you know your next door neighbour?
Yes.
And is it Mr. Sartori? Is that the chap?
Is it Alan?
Alan?
Yes.
Yeah. No, there's a vehicle outside of his.
Silver BMW.
Is that one?
Graphite.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one there?
Yeah.
Great stuff. All right. Many thanks for your help, though.
All
Okay.
right.
Appreciate it. Thanks. We'll have that one, mate.
Gary clamps the car the neighbour identifies as Mr. Sartori's. The agents hope that their actions will prompt a response from the debtor.
Wonder if I want to come and talk now.
We've got blue lights coming this way.
But then suddenly, the police arrive.
Hi, mate. You all right? Hey, how are you? You all right? Hey, bud. You all right? Hey, good. So it's High Court writ for Mr.
Does he answer the door?
Mr. Sartori. No, he's talking to us through the glass.
Right. He's called us, so...
Yeah.
Obviously we need to go.
Yeah, go and have a word with him. Yeah, by all means.
Mr. Sartori lets the officers in.
Yeah. All right, buddy. You on there?
But seconds later, a family friend, Paul, arrives. And Matt seizes the opportunity to try and get inside the house.
He didn't invite you, you twat.
Just trapped my hand in the door. I really wish he hadn't done that, though.
Five minutes later, the police open the door to leave.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. The door can, the door can stay, though.
But the friend, Paul, hasn't calmed down.
You're not here to do that, son. They're here to break the block, to break the peace.
Move back away from me.
You fucking
Move back away from me.
You cheeky fuck. Who the fuck are you?
Officers, it's obstructing.
I'm not obstructing you.
Right.
Let the officers do the job.
Get him out. Get him out.
Take
Out.
You're being told to get out, so get out.
You are coming
You are.
out.
You are.
You are coming out, otherwise you'll be locked up to prevent breach of the peace.
Breach of the peace?
Yeah.
And you've got no right to put your
I know
hands on
exactly
me.
what we're
None
doing.
whatsoever.
Hey,
Excuse
you do
me.
put your hands
Excuse
on
me.
me. No, you can't stop him, is he now? From my phone.
It's a bit late if I can't stop him. You shouldn't be obstructing me there either.
No, son, let's go out the house.
As the friend is escorted out of the house by the police, the agents finally gain entry. And Matt comes face to face with the debtor, Mr. Sartori.
So my name's Matthew Highway, I'm a High Court enforcement agent. Perhaps if you'd have opened the door, we could have discussed this properly.
Bullying your way in.
You are liable for £25,070.12. So we're here to collect payment, sir.
I ain't got £25,000.
No worries. So we're here to seize goods to the value of, sir.
You can't seize
What
goods
will count?
from someone else's house. I live here in a rented room.
Smashing,
I've got
okay.
nothing.
So who owns the property in the house?
George there, and he owns that car.
George, this gentleman says that the items of the property belong to yourself, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You're going to need, there's a High Court writ been issued
Right.
for Mr Sartori,
Right.
and it's for this property. Okay?
This is my
So if there,
house.
just let me finish. So if there are items in the property that belong to yourself, the onus is on you to prove that to me, unfortunately, by way of receipts or invoices.
For everything in this house?
Yes, yeah.
Well, I can't do that today, but this house, the land registry is me.
Okay.
I rent a room here. You
This
can't
is my
take stuff
home.
away.
Unfortunately,
And there's nothing to do. Everything is in my name.
So I'll just see proof of that, and I won't seize it.
While George goes to look for documents to prove the goods in the house belong to him, the agents give Mr Sartori another chance to pay the debt.
So can you raise any funds, sir?
I've got nothing. Look in my bank. I've got nothing.
Nothing at all, no? We'll carry on to our job then.
So you're going to take things out this house?
Yes.
Now?
Yes, that's what the writ commands me to do.
Then, Mr Sartori's friend, Paul, returns to the house. This time with his daughter Stacey and her boyfriend.
Alan! Alan, it's Stacey.
Stacey, that's the one that's taking things.
Alan,
You can't say nothing.
No, he's
Alan,
fine.
listen to my daughter.
And the boyfriend immediately starts to intimidate Gary.
What's your name?
What's my name? Gary Ball. You come in for me. Do that, officer. He's threatening me.
Future reference.
Excuse me, buddy. Excuse me.
Don't touch me.
Excuse me.
Don't touch me.
Okay, right.
What's this?
Chap, you don't even need to be here, so if you start obstructing my duty, I'll get the officers to put you out, alright? So it's up to you. Keep quiet.
Okay.
Keep quiet then. To be honest, that sort of behaviour just deflects off me. It's tactics that they believe will stop enforcement. They're dead wrong, it won't stop us doing what we're there to do. We've seen it, we've seen that dance a million times before.
This is not Alan's house.
Yeah.
That's not Alan's car outside. He's a guest in this house.
Has that got your name on?
George has found proof of ownership for the BMW parked outside.
Yeah, that's George. That's all I need, mate. So what I'll do is I'll get the clamp off.
Right, thank you.
Right.
Gary can now release the clamp,
We put in the light today. You see how I push you?
but he's followed by Stacey's boyfriend.
You twat! You needed the officers to support you.
You're just making things worse.
I don't care, son. Gentlemen, being recording.
Problem?
Oh, son. You didn't have to take the clamp off, did you? Yeah, what a shame.
And as the agents go back inside, Paul and the boyfriend decide to try and block their way.
Come on, go in.
Chap, you want to make that off, eh?
Yeah, he's on that. Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me.
You're doing these.
We'll
Look how I'm breaking
have the
into.
These guys can stay outside, mate. They're just going to cause problems if they're in here.
No, sir, let's go in the house. Come on.
The police get the men to leave. And now Matt and Gary must get this case resolved, one way or another.
I'll give you a list of what's being seized.
Have you got an inventory there?
I will have when it's finished.
Okay,
but
super.
it'll be anything of value that's in the property.
George can provide receipts. as I
Smashing.
said, Alan
Receipts for
will.
invoice. That's what I already asked for.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
George's
smashing.
house, it's George's
Oh.
mortgage.
So where's your enforcement knowledge come from,
I
Emma?
was a solicitor for years.
Oh, is it? All right.
Strip club now.
You want what?
Strip club now. On Broad Street.
I was the doorman on Ronnie Scott's for 8. Remember Ronnie Scott's? Broad Street? 8 years.
That's one of the few mice.
Recognise Alan from?
He owned it.
He owned it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. He owned Ronnie Scott's for years.
I was his doorman then. Alan, do
He used to be a doorman at Ronnie Scott's.
you remember when I used to be your doorman?
I do.
Do you?
It seems the debtor used to be Matt's boss.
My life collapsed about 5-6 years ago in a big court case. I've got no money left. Living on benefit. Marriage
Of course,
collapsed.
you'd
The
have-
house was sold. I can't go through much more of this.
I did feel a bit sorry for the defendant. He ran a nightclub in the middle of Birmingham, walked around in probably £1,000 suits, and was making a lot of money. So to see him then and to see him now with, enforcement agents at his door, it was a bit of a shock.
It's my account, so I'll take it.
1.5 hours after the agents first arrived, George shows them proof that he is the homeowner.
Smash him.
Convinced that there are no assets they can seize, the agents decide to throw Mr. Sartori a lifeline.
Obviously he's not got 25,000 quid, that'd be the best option, but it's not going to happen. We can ask Alan what his offer of repayment's going to be, and then I can give Alan 48 hours for him to come up with a reasonable offer. Obviously I don't have to say, if we don't engage with us and we don't get this organised, we do have to come back. It does end up costing you more money, and obviously the aggravation of us coming back to the property, which, so the onus is on you to get this sorted out.
Mr. Sartori now has 2 days to come up with a payment. The case is resolved for now.
I'll leave it to it, okay?
But if Mr. Sartori doesn't honour the arrangement, the agents will be back.
It was a difficult case, frustrating case. We weren't able to get a great result for the claimant, but we exhausted the enforcement process.
A recent survey has revealed that adults aged under 35 are increasingly coming under financial pressure. Almost half are concerned about their financial future. With an average disposable monthly income of just £156, young adults are increasingly turning to borrowing to cover their living expenses. (8:30 a.m). High Court enforcement agents Paul Bowhill and Max Caraher are in Guildford, Surrey.
Well, what have we got today then, Max?
We're off to see Mr. Bernard Kerr, and we're looking to collect £3,161.06.
Mr. Kerr, a professional cyclist, owes over £3,000 to a garage after a dispute over repairs to his van.
And I did some research on this chap. I think he's a downhill mountain biker, so he might have some expensive kit.
If Mr. Kerr can't or won't pay, the agents have the right to seize assets or vehicles belonging to him to pay off the debt. They immediately spot a van parked outside.
Pivot of factory racing cycles.
But before they clamp it, the agents need to see whether Mr. Kerr is willing to pay.
Yeah, look, there's all his cycling seats.
Just hang on there and I'll just have a look.
With no response, Paul decides to go round the back and discovers the valuable cycles they were hoping to find.
All the bikes here, look.
Oh yeah, they are expensive.
The back door is open, so Paul and Max make peaceful entry.
High Court enforcement, come to the door, please. Hello, High Court enforcement. We're inside the property. Oh, hello? High Court enforcement, mate. Your door was open. You Bernard? Are you Bernard?
Yeah.
Hi, Bernard. My name's Max Caraher. I'm a High Court enforcement agent. It's my colleague Paul Bowhill. Sorry for the awakening. You left your back door open.
Yeah.
We're here with a High Court writ for you.
Yeah.
Do you know about this at all? It's from...
I got back from into the country. I race mountain bikes across the world.
With the agents at his door, Bernard faces a crisis. With his bikes in danger of being seized, his racing career could be at risk. High Court enforcement agents Paul Bowhill and Max Caraher were in Guildford, Surrey, to recover a debt of over £3,000 owed by professional cyclist Bernard Kerr to a garage. The agents discovered valuable bikes that could be seized to pay off the debt.
Oh yeah, they are expensive.
But there was no sign of the debtor.
Hello, High Court enforcement. We're inside the property. Are you Bernard?
Yeah.
Now the agents must get this case resolved, one way or another.
Mr. Kerr, may I make a suggestion? Put some clothes on.
Yeah, wait, you're over here. People can be at the top of their game and the best at what they do, but if you don't keep your focus, then you could still end up in debt, even if you have got the employment and the assets. It could happen to anybody.
A few minutes later, Bernard reappears.
Hi Bernard, should we start again?
Yeah, I know what this is about.
You do know what it's about. Tell us about the story.
My van broke down, and simple problem, steering lock jammed. Then I call the AA the next morning, that day, like, can you go and tow it to the Mercedes garage? 4 weeks, which for a commercial vehicle is unheard of. I phoned them up and said, guys, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay this. They're like, absolutely fine, we'll talk about it.
Obviously they did notify that they were taking it to court.
Huh? No.
The writ exists, and there is a request for payment there.
There's an outstanding balance at this moment in time of £3,161.06. We obviously have to collect that today.
The High Court writ seems to have come as a shock to Bernard. He gets straight on the phone to the garage, who've taken him to court.
Hi there, my name's Bernard Kerr. There's an outstanding payment I have with you guys, and I was waiting for a phone call back that I never got. I didn't want to pay anything. I had to hire a van for 4 weeks, I had to pay someone to drive it to Europe. I had the stress. I was racing 2 World Cups, one in Scotland and one in Austria. And I'm there, like, trying to practice, trying to qualify for a man bike World Cup, while trying to phone you guys on the gondola up to the top of the hill. Like, it's not really acceptable.
If a defendant is in a dispute with somebody else, it can make our life very difficult because they've already got this idea in their head that they're not going to pay. Now, fortunately for us, sometimes we can be presented in a situation where there are very valuable assets and plenty of them.
Bernard hasn't been able to speak to the manager of the garage, but Paul has to make it clear that whatever the rights or wrongs of the situation, the writ is active and needs to be paid today.
Can you get into the mindset? You've got to pay. It's £3,200 or whatever the figure is on there.
But Bernard has other ideas.
Yes. If I let you take an asset, I think that's going to work better for me, because then I can just get that back off you and then I can sort this with them. Is that?
Not exactly.
No, what we do, if we were to take assets away,
we escalate the case to the sale and disposal.
they could be put to sale.
Your bill goes to £3,894.26.
£800.
Yeah.
Some of Bernard's bikes cost thousands, but Max warns him that at public auction they would achieve a fraction of their worth.
Believe it or not, a lot of people aren't going to know how much a Specialised S worth.
Well, I can buy one of those at the boot fair for a tenner.
Where can I go to a public auction? Start buying bikes.
Faced with the prospect of losing several of his expensive bikes, Bernard has a change of heart.
Are you willing to make the payment?
I'll pay it, yeah.
Is that right?
I'm going to go up to 800.
I'll,
I've got the money, I think. I need to get a solicitor now, don't I?
You do, yeah.
We'll write you a full receipt so you can take this bang over to your solicitors, etc.
Bernard pays the agents in full.
That's a pricey morning. Can you have the Ritz for breakfast?
But as Paul and Max leave, he's back on the phone, continuing to dispute the debt.
Yeah, I've just spent over £3 grand. I paid it on a card right here.
Debt doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter whether you're a world champion, whether you're the greatest thing in your field. The fact is that the small details like debt and the payment of debt, they will catch up with you. You can't escape.
I thought he was a really decent chap, Paul. It's rare that you meet someone like that in the course of our work. Very rare.